Hold on a second. Say something.
Is Wale going to join us?
No, everybody else flicked out.
Man, they're
Mm-hmm.
probably all. Well, I know Mitat said he was going out to dinner with some friends.
It's probably going with Wale and them.
Right.
Oh
Not inviting us.
God. So a little bit of an update. Wilson's fight. Apparently he did something to his hip, like he strained it or something. So I don't know at which round that happened, but apparently he finished out that entire 3 rounds. Was it 3 rounds? Was it a 3 round fight?
Yeah, it's usually a 3 round fight.
Yeah,
It's
he
only like when you amateur fights are 3 rounds.
yeah, he finished out the entire 3 rounds with at some portion of him having a busted hip.
What does that mean? Busted hip.
He didn't elaborate. He said he was letting healing up from letting his hip heal up from the fight.
So that's why he can't join us.
No, he's working. He's working the late
Uh,
night shift.
what does he do?
Construction?
Okay. Well,
I think he does construction.
I could totally see how that would happen. I mean, Muay Thai has a lot of like Muay Thai kicks. You really have to engage your hips with that. Or if his opponent kicked him in the hip,
So
that could cause bruising.
it looked like his opponent was like ramming him to get to the clinch.
Hmm.
So I'm wondering if like Wilson tried to chamber a kick or prep a kick, and then he got like hit.
Hmm.
Because I do remember something when I did karate. I do remember like chambering a sidekick and somebody just running up and jamming it, my hip hurting for a while.
Yeah, that could make that makes sense because then
Yeah.
you're like straining the tendons there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I wasn't able to go to the TCB event to see his fight, unfortunately. But I heard that it was good and
Hmm.
that he put up a really good I think he did not win though.
No, I think
Mhm.
it
What
was
was
cool.
it? Was it by Ruff's decision or what?
It was by decision. I don't know
Okay.
if it was ref's decision. I can't remember if it was ref's decision or like a unanimous
Mhm.
judgment. But from the videos I saw, um, it looked like he did really well. I think the difference was the other guy was charging in for the clinch and working from there.
Mhm.
So somehow I don't know how Muay Thai is scored. So I guess that got that guy more points.
It depends on where you're having the Muay Thai fight, but in TCB, they they try to be as traditional as possible, where it's less about the knockouts and the knockdowns, and it's more about like how many kicks you get, how many blocks are
Hmm.
you achieving, and then how fast do you retaliate when you are kicked. So like a traditional Thai fight is less about being like injured. It's less about injuring your opponent and
Hmm.
knocking them out like it is in, the good old USA. But it's more about like how long you can last, how many kicks you can take, how many kicks you can give, you know?
Hmm.
Um, so it's more about like the stamina that you're bringing into the fight rather than like maiming your opponent. So I think TCB tries to enforce these more traditional rules. And because I've seen some fights where, the person on our team is they keep getting knocked down,
Hmm.
right? Like they keep getting swept, but sweeps aren't like a part of the point system. So they'll still win, even though it seems like they were losing in our eyes. It seems like they may have been losing because they kept getting swept. But if
Right.
they kept kicking and making contact with those kicks, that's going to make them win.
Hmm.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, because from what I saw, it looked like Wilson had the other guy staggered once, maybe twice.
Hmm.
Just from like landing good shots. So
Mhm. But that's
yeah.
not necessarily in a TCB, like traditional Thai fight. That's not
Mhm.
what's gonna get him those points. That's not gonna make him win.
Right. Yeah,
But
I'll have to like educate myself on that so I know what the hell I'm talking about next time.
yeah, I only know it because like, I dated someone who was super into Muay Thai and like we would watch traditional Muay Thai fights together and he would explain like what traditional Thai fights look like
Gotcha.
and how they're graded and compared to like how it is here in the States. So that's the only reason I know. But jujitsu is my love, is where my heart is. So I have much more experience and knowledge of that. So and that's why I'm on this podcast, Booze and BJJ. Yeah. Speaking of booze, what are you drinking, Thomas?
I did something a little ghetto.
What'd you do?
So I got a blue raspberry soda and I put rum in it.
Oh, okay. That could be tasty. Yeah, I could see that.
So I'd never had this soda before,
Mm-hmm.
but it is absolutely delicious with the rum in it. Like
Oh,
this may have been the most awful soda prior to the rum being introduced, but good God, this is delicious.
that sounds legit. Can you bring the label up just so I know which is it? Okay.
I
Wow,
got it
that
from
looks
the
like, yeah, that looks like some like, yeah, ghetto blue raspberry soda you'd buy at some like
I got it
corner
from the
store.
dollar store.
There you go. There you go. Hey, if it works, man. If it
Yeah.
tastes good, it tastes good. Um,
This
yeah,
was better than the Mountain Dew and rum concoction I had that one time.
that's disgusting.
It was okay. It was okay. It's okay.
I mean,
It
I
was,
guess it's like it's all gonna taste like very chemical and synthetic. So I mean, whatever.
I mean, this isn't
Pick
so
your
bad.
poison.
Yeah. This isn't so bad. This actually tastes like a mixed drink you would get from a bar.
Hmm.
So
That's legit.
I'm pretty happy with this. I'm probably
Yeah,
just
high
gonna
five.
buy like a couple of those just to have them on standby.
Yeah, exactly. Your
Yeah.
rum and your blue raspberry sodas. There you go.
Hmm.
No one will ever know.
No, but
I'm being classy tonight. I have mom's sippy cup here with my Chardonnay. So being classy. Pinky up, everyone. Pinky up.
just pinky out. No, not sorry, just whatever. I got you. So speaking of Wilson's hip, we were going to talk about injuries today.
Hmm. That's right.
Just-
I am also not harboring, nursing an injury. Um, I finally messed up my knee while training with some aggressive military dudes. You know how that goes.
yeah.
And it's the classic like MCL tear. I feel like it's pretty common in jujitsu. It's a pretty common injury because your knee is like bent inward at an awkward angle, and then you're like trying to apply, pressure, and or someone's like trying to knee cut pass, and it's just like pushing on the knee, and then you hear that pop, and you feel that like strain or a tear or something, and you're like, oh no. When it happened, I was like, you gotta be freaking kidding me. I just registered for the IBJJF Pan American in March. And I mean, I cried when it happened. I was like, and also I have a 20-month old daughter who's like running around all the time, always asking me to pick her up, walk up the stairs with her, all that crap. And it's like, I cannot be injured right now. And so I was pretty pissed and upset because I'm always trying to avoid being injured. Luckily it's not um a severe tear or anything like that. It's like a severe strain. So it should heal fairly quickly. And I'm lucky in that respect. I know offhand two other females who are nursing the same injury,
Mhm.
but all three of us, were trying to continue to train, and it can be difficult.
Do you think you're going to be healed enough to go to Pans or no?
I have no idea. I think so.
Mhm.
I mean, I kind of feel like, so I went to open mat today and I flow rolled. I can't do like any De La Hiva stuff. So it's kind of uh eliminated some aspects of like my game that I
Mhm.
typically use, and that's an adjustment. But I think, and this is the point I want, like the main point I wanted to drive home throughout this discussion is that you can like, even though you're injured, well, it depends on the injury and how severe it is, but I like to think that when it you can always find other ways around your injury, like other moves. And instead of just throwing in the towel and saying, I can't train, I'm gonna have to take 2 months off, and then like just sitting on your ass the entire time drinking. Because I feel like what else would you do with all that free time that you'd normally be training, right? Um, uh, you can work around it, like just ask your coach, what moves can I do? And just like when you are practicing, you can practice drills, just be smart about your body mechanics and how you're moving. And like anything that's causing sharp pain, like don't do that. But like for me, I was avoiding De La Hiva. I knew that that would put stress on my MCL. I was avoiding um bringing my knee inward at any point, but I could still do a lot, I could still, because jujitsu, it's a full body sport. Like you
Mhm.
need every single limb, every single part of your body. And the other thing about it is like it's going to challenge you in a way that might actually be really helpful for you, because when you have your own like game, your own strategy, sometimes like we pigeonhole ourselves into that, and it's like that's all I know, and if it doesn't work out, you're like, oh crap, like, if you have a certain strategy and it's just not working, then you're like, oh, now what do I do now?
Mhm.
And so sometimes when you're training with an injury, you start learning things that you would have never, challenge yourself to learn. Like I said, De La Hiva, X guard, that stuff. Like I can't really do that now. And those are my strategies. So now I'm being forced to try other things, which it could end up being super useful to me. Like just like it broadens it increases the tools in my toolbox.
Yeah, it
So,
increases your skill set.
yeah, exactly.
Like my knees are worn out from uh breakdancing. So for years I couldn't even play De La Hiva. Like the De La Hiva hook
Mm-hmm.
it almost instantaneously made my knees hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But some for after COVID, like I guess my knees had finally a chance to heal. I can actually play it now. Like if I'm like careful, like
Mm-hmm.
there's points where there's a little bit too much pressure on my knees, and I let go and I just go to transition
Yeah.
to another guard. But yeah, like I just randomly tried playing it, and I was like, holy crap, my knees don't hurt for once. And I've been playing it a lot recently.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, and you made a great point in saying like I feel like COVID did that for a lot of people where we were like literally forced to just take a rest,
mhm.
and all those injuries that, first, I mean, some people continued to train
Well,
through COVID. They were lucky enough to find someone's basement to train in. Yeah, right. But if others of us, it forced us to rest, and I gotta say, like when I got back, into jujitsu. Well, I mean, I had a baby, I got pregnant, I had a baby and all that good stuff. But when I came back, I was like, oh wow, I feel like I didn't really lose anything.
mhm.
In fact, I feel pretty strong. Um, I do want to say that I want to caveat everything I said in my prior statement with the fact that rest is really beneficial. Like when I went to open mat today, it's been like 2 weeks since I sustained the injury. And that first week, I didn't train at all. Like
Mhm.
if anything, I went to the gym and did like upper body stuff, and I like maybe used the rower, but like I didn't train any jujitsu. I kind of didn't have a choice because like my daughter had a stomach virus and then I got the stomach virus and it was but um rest is really beneficial. So, when you it's like immediately after you sustain the injury, maybe you should take that rest. But when the doctor's saying like 4 to 6 weeks, no jujitsu, I mean, like I'm gonna hear that and be like, I think I can still do it. I just have to be careful.
I think a lot of people do that. They
Yeah,
get
I
they
mean,
injure something, and they go to the doctor. Doctor's like, stop that for this period of time. Like, okay, and then you
yeah,
go
right.
right
Like,
back the next day.
excuse me, this is my life. I can't just stop my life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, that's the thing. Like, I do know that there are also plenty of people who do seriously take the doctor's advice and they do take that break. But I feel like if you're, um, I don't know, I don't want to, I feel like what I'm about to say sounds really judgmental. Like, if you're really serious about the sport, not to say that people who actually take the breaks that the doctor advises us to take, um, is it makes you weak or it means that you're not taking jujitsu seriously. I don't want to say that, but I feel like I did just say that.
you're
What I'm
fine.
saying is, huh?
You're fine.
Yeah. What I'm saying is that like you just have to listen to your body. If you feel like you have, and you have to listen to your body, and then, each person has their own risk assessment and how they what they're willing to um what they're willing to risk.
Hmm.
And I feel like if me personally, I'm fairly confident in my body control and my awareness of my body mechanics. And I've been doing jujitsu for, quite a few years, that I feel comfortable trying to continue to train as long as I'm being careful. Um, but I know, like, if you're new to the sport, that might not be wise because you don't know enough technique to work around your injury. And that's why I wanted to introduce that caveat, because if you're a white belt and you popped your knee or something, take that rest, take that break, because you're not going to know enough. You just, you're new. You're not going to know enough technique to be safe while training.
Yeah.
So
After a while of doing grappling, especially this sport, grappling of any kind, especially jujitsu, um, you learn to move much more efficiently. So if you do end up training with an injury, it's less likely that you're going to aggravate it or re-injure it. But just like Yana said, if you're new to the sport, it may not be the best idea. You know, like a lot of people, they may not realize it, but they panic. When your guard gets past, a lot of new people panic. Their body will jitter. It'll tense up suddenly, and that action can actually aggravate an injury even more. Um, Wale actually popped an oblique of mine like years ago, like maybe my first or second year in, and went to the doctor. The doctor's like, rest, it'll feel on its own. I said, cool, yes, sir. Went right back to training the next day, and it hurt like a lot, but only if I moved in specific ways. But other than that, I was fine. Went away in like 2, 3 weeks. But if I didn't have a judo background prior to that, that
yeah.
probably would have been extremely painful.
Hmm.
So,
The other point I wanted to make that you kind of like um touched upon is, when you're new, you just instinctively kind of like start freaking out when your guard gets passed because you don't know what to do, right? And that makes it difficult for you to flow roll, which is crucial. Like knowing how to flow roll is crucial, especially when you have an injury, because you take your time, you're a little bit more relaxed, you're feeling each other out, like you're listening to your own body, you're paying attention to what your training partner is doing a lot more um when you're flow rolling. And so when you're new, and this kind of touches on an earlier conversation we had, when you're new, you just, and it's nothing against people who are just starting out in jujitsu. It's nothing against white belts. It's just the way it is. Like, I didn't know how to flow roll when I was new. I didn't know how to flow roll until I became a purple belt. Really, like, it's hard to understand what that feels like and what that means, um, until you get a little bit more like higher up in the belt level. And that's another reason why, like, if you're new and you sustain a fairly severe injury, you should take that break, because you're not going to know how to flow roll either, to again, to be safe.
Yeah. The interesting thing is sometimes, have you ever had an injury that you didn't know you were injured until like the next day?
Yes, like I had an injury in my scapula, or the muscles around my scapula, and then I ended up getting a pinched nerve because I kept training on top
Mhm.
of it. So
So
yeah.
that's something that's new to me because Thursday, I didn't think I did anything crazy. Training was
Mhm.
fine. Went home, took a shower, went to sleep, woke up, did my work thing, went back to the gym to teach on Friday. I started stretching and I started feeling like these weird pains, not in my hip, but like kind of behind my hip.
Mhm.
And it went from like my hip all the way down to the back of my knee on both
Mhm.
sides. And I was like, what the?
That's the sciatica. That's the sciatic nerve.
Is that what that is?
Hmm.
Oh, thank God. I thought I like
No, it's
sprained
probably
something.
like your sciatic nerve is inflamed or irritated or in some way. That's the nerve that runs, like, yeah, down. I think it's your left hip and down, yeah, all the way down your leg.
Is it just the
It's a
left side?
major nerve. Uh, Google, help me.
To Google.
Mm-hmm. Sciatica.
I gotta see this because it was the worst on the right side of my leg. On the right side.
Is it the right side? I can sciatica. Yeah, I think it's just the left side. Oh, never mind.
Is it?
It runs down one or both legs. Or it's both legs.
Oh, okay. One or both? How's?
Sorry, I'm reading about sciatica. Sciatica
Oh,
is when your sciatic nerve is inflamed.
ah, you were about to scare
So
me there. I was like, one or both. Like, am I missing a nerve here? Like that wouldn't
what's
surprise me.
going on?
It's like,
So the sciatic nerve branches from your lower back through your hips and buttocks down each leg.
okay
I had
then.
a friend who had a like really bad sciatic nerve problem, and she was really into yoga, and then suddenly she could barely walk. It was so bad. And then she like lost all flexibility. I mean, it's just like it will affect your flexibility for sure. So if you were stretching and like you couldn't touch your toes like you normally do because you're feeling that like pain running down your leg from your hip,
Mm-hmm.
that's probably your sciatic nerve.
I
And
wonder
I
if,
don't know, that could be caused by all kinds of things.
well, honestly, I haven't been stretching because remember I had my throat surgery.
Hmm.
Kind of stopped stretching, and I'm wondering if that has something to do with it. Because I sometimes I stretch twice a day.
Hmm.
So, and then I overtrain, and then my body aches, and I'm like, oh shit, what did I do?
So a lot of times, sciatica, when your sciatic nerve is inflamed, it's caused by a herniated disc or a bone spur in the spine. Do you think you have that?
I'm pretty sure I don't have a herniated disc because if I
Yeah, you'd
remember
feel that.
correctly, that would hurt like a yeah.
Mm.
Bone spurs, I do have a little bit of an issue with.
Then maybe that's like it was aggravated while training.
Yeah.
I think I've pretty like I've had some injuries that, well, they weren't necessarily injuries per se, where like I'll be done with training and then like my hand will hurt. And I'm like, I don't remember my hand hurting while I was training, like at all.
Mhm.
It like
Yeah.
I don't remember anything happening. I don't remember it hurting or being irritated. And all of a sudden now, like I'm taking a shower, and my fucking hand hurts. So I've definitely had some of those as well, where they just
S-
like pop up out of nowhere.
Speaking of hands and going back to previous conversation about De La Riva guard, I think one of the worst injuries I had was I was drilling De La Riva sweeps with Yo, and I had the De La Riva hook, right? And this one time, instead of cupping it like this, I had my thumb up. So I swept Yo, and his body went like that. I felt everything here tear,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, "Crap, I might need to go get like surgery." Got it checked out. Didn't need surgery, luckily. But I've noticed recently that same area has been aching if I use like heavy grips,
Mm-hmm.
and it's 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 annoying, but it doesn't feel like it's gonna like re-injure itself.
Yeah.
So
I get like I feel like I have carpal tunnel syndrome sometimes where and this isn't consistent. It like it happens very irregularly where I will put my hand down to like post up or something or
mhm.
push off, and it'll just like the inside of my hand will feel very like it'll hurt. It'll just like throb, or like I'll
Yeah.
feel a sharp pain. But it comes and it goes, and I usually just ignore it and like switch to like using my fists instead.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. Jujitsu is very hard on the body. It's very hard on the body. So that's why it's, important to know how to flow roll, to, always match what your partner is doing, their
Hmm.
percent, because your 40 might be their, or your 20 might be their 40,
Yeah.
And I think that's when I was training with these military guys, I think that's something that I have seen consistently as being a problem, because they tend to be more competitive. They
Hmm.
tend to not know how to flow roll, or they think that their 40 is your 40 when I'm like half your size,
Hmm.
I get that experience a lot. Like anytime I've trained with military guys.
Yeah, one thing I think a lot of people, well, especially a lot of guys, forget, especially if you're significantly larger or heavier than someone, is that you have to match your partner so that they get something out of it if there's a significant size or weight difference. Like at one point, I'm pretty sure I was about 100 pounds heavier than you. So if I just like, you know, belly flopped on top of you if you're playing guard, that would do nothing. You'd probably get injured.
Mm.
And it's like, hooray, I passed Yana's guard, hooray.
Yeah,
It's
but the
like,
like, what are you
but
learning?
I didn't learn anything. All I did was belly
Yeah.
flop on you. And that actually happened to me once. Um, but a lot of guys need to understand that they need to just tone it back. You could still get good training in without going
Yeah.
like
That's the thing. You can
bonkers.
still get good training in. Like you don't have to like you don't always have to smash and pass. You don't always have to like make the person tap out. You can get good training without all of that. That's why flow rolling is so important. I mean, I cannot stress enough how important it is. I really can't.
Yeah. And that's why I like to train with like majority of the time like smaller people because I feel it it may not be true, but my perception of the rounds that I get in with smaller, faster folks, I feel like um I get more of a useful experience out of it. Big guys, you know what to expect. They're gonna try to squish you.
Yeah,
gonna try to overpower
they
you
tend to go a little slower too. And
and
when you're
slower.
going with someone who's smaller and faster, I mean, you gotta keep up a
Yeah.
lot more.
So like Nino and Bilgi, like they are so fast and so good now. Like if I'm not on point, they're on my back and choking me.
Exactly.
So yeah, but it's good. Yeah. Um, what other injuries have we seen recently? It's just the
So I
knee
haven't
injuries.
ever gotten anything too serious. I have my cat with me. Thank you. Are you gonna open your eyes? Maybe not. No,
Nope.
okay, he's like over it.
Hmm.
I would say this has been my most, I mean, I've had all kinds of like minor injuries, like a couple, like a month or two ago, I strained something in my elbow trying to
Oh yeah.
do Tayatoshi
Yeah.
against someone, and they were like a stone wall. They just didn't budge.
Hmm.
So I was left going like, pulling on their gi and straining this tendon here on my elbow. And that still is sensitive.
So
I know what to do to like not aggravate it.
mhm.
It's not as sensitive as the knee, but like it hurt.
That elbow strain is something that I've always had problems with. And then Sugi was
Well,
like,
because you have a lot of judo experience.
right, I've always had problems with entries where you have to turn and your arm is like at a 90-degree angle. Um,
Mhm.
Sugi told me how to get around, like how to avoid that, and I felt stupid. And I was like, dang, for 9 years, I've been avoiding those throws because I don't want to hurt my elbow. And you just told me how to get around it in like 2 seconds.
How?
You turn your so you have to turn your arm, like your fist. So instead
Oh,
of
like this
instead of
instead
going
this.
like this, turn your fist outward and then pull them. I'll show you. It's hard to describe over video
Yeah.
chat, but yeah, there's a definite difference. So,
I feel like that would still strain that like ligament in the elbow though, because like no matter, even if you're like this and you're pulling, that's gonna activate these muscles in that ligament.
um, true. You may want to. I mean, if it's still aggravated, I would wait to try it until the aggravation's gone. Because
Oh yeah, I haven't been doing any judo.
yeah. Oh man, there's a brown belt from Mongolia who came by. I don't know if you were there that night.
Today? No.
No, no, no. It's like
I think I know who you're talking about.
Tuesday. Was he there today?
No.
Oh, he's like thinner guy, glasses. Um, we were doing judo.
Yeah. I saw him on Tuesday. Yeah.
Hey, you were there Tuesday. He
Yeah.
hit me with a. Speaking of judo, he hit me with a uh I can't remember the Japanese term. I called it cowboy throw. Um,
That.
is it? It's not Tayatoshi. It's when you grab your opponent, you put your foot on their hip or their chest, you sit down and like flip them over your head. You know what I'm
Mhm.
talking about? He
Mhm.
did that to me, and Sugi was like making fun of me. He's like, "Tom, you were in the air." And I was like, "Yeah, yeah." Mm.
So is he a judo guy?
He might be. He's something
Oh,
because
he's
he
something. I mean, he's a
he
brown belt.
not just that, but his takedown skills were excellent, and he was doing like wrestling stuff, and he looked like he was like a seasoned
Mm,
like Olympic, not Olympic, but like at least
no.
folk style wrestler. So look forward to
I
seeing him
regret
again.
not being like not rolling with him, but I was like I was trying to be as cautious with my knee as possible. The
Yeah.
other thing is, other remark I wanted to make about training while injured is make sure you have someone in your team you trust to flow roll with who can because don't try to, I guess what I'm trying to say is don't try to challenge yourself by rolling with just everyone and anyone because again, like especially when it comes to newer people, they're not going to know how to be conscientious of your injury. as much as someone who's a little bit more experienced.
Yep, that's
So
true. Yeah. It's
hate
always
to
a
say it, but that's what it is.
it's always good to have a multitude of training partners. Um, I like to have two sets. The sets that I can go bonkers with, and then the sets where I know I can go easy with, you know,
Like
Uh,
two sets of people.
like training partners, like the ones
Mhm.
that go intense, maybe a little bit crazy, and then the other set where it's like nice and smooth and, low
Mhm.
risk. So,
Low rolling.
yeah, flow rolling. Like it's good to have at least a few training partners to know how to do that. That's definitely a skill that apparently not a lot of people have.
I mean, like it's hard. It's hard to learn. I think one thing people don't understand about flow rolling is that, especially when you're newer, like a white or blue belt, you think it's just about going slow, and it's not just that. It's about yeah, it's about going slow, but it's also about making jujitsu more like a dance, right? Like you're not you're not always resisting. You're letting that person sweep you, you're letting them get on top, and then they let you sweep them, right? It's like a
Mm-hmm.
give and take. They do something that they're like trying to work on, and then you do something um in response. And it's not like you're always trying to that's the whole thing. It's not just about going slow. You're letting them do things, and then they're letting you do things that you wouldn't normally do if you're sparring, like in a competition or something. Like obviously you're not going to let them pass your guard, but in flow rolling, I mean, the idea is that you both let each other do that kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
which can be hard again, because it's like, especially if you're the more competitive type, you don't want to give in. You don't want to give
Mm-mm.
them anything,
Nope.
you know? But how else are you going to learn to get out of things? How else are you going to learn defense, right? To
Mm-hmm.
get out of things that you might end up in, like their side control. And how are they going to learn these sweeps properly if you don't let them? It's like a combination of drilling and real time sparring. But I don't know where I was going with that, but I did want to make that note that it's not just about going slow. It's also not about submissions, because sometimes I'll flow roll with someone. I'll say like, "Hey, let's flow roll," and they're like, "Cool," and we're going slow, but they're still trying to go for like submissions, and I'm like, "That's not what flow rolling is about."
Right.
They're like trying to crank my neck, and I'm like, "What? What are you doing? This is
Uh,
not flow rolling."
so, question for you: what was the worst injury you've seen in a competition?
In a competition,
Mm-hmm.
um, I
Let
don't
me
think
let
I've
me
seen.
let me update that question. Seen and or heard.
Oh, heard. Oh, yeah, I've definitely heard like a pop or two, but I wasn't like near the match to see exactly what happened. But I've heard some gruesome stories. Like there was that one video that Sugi, our coach, had sent in the group chat of this guy in an MMA fight, and like his opponent was like knee barring the crap out of him, and he was not tapping.
Yeah, that was
And didn't
the
he end up walking away with serious injuries to that knee?
yeah, that was the Mikey Musumeci fight.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hmm.
dude. The I believe the doctor evaluation of that guy's knee was that everything was separated, and the only thing that was holding it together was skin. And
That's
his
disgusting.
and his ankle was broken.
That's so gross.
Yeah.
Like, come on, people, just tap. He has a
Um,
high ass pain tolerance. Like, is he on something? Like, how does that happen? And he's still adrenaline, I guess.
so that was a Sambo guy, and they do a lot of leg locks. So he probably was just probably so used to it. I hate to say that he may have
Mhm.
not felt it until it was like way too late. Like I know a lot of other guys who are really notorious for leg locks. Some of them, their knees look like they're gone. Like some of these guys, I don't know how they're walking around. Like the
That's so
Mal,
gross. Oh,
like I saw a video of one of the Mal brothers from Brazil,
mhm.
and his knee looked like it was just his kneecap just looked like it was floating around in fluid.
Oh, it's so gross.
Like
Oh,
I don't know how those guys do it. Like I can't do it. Like
it's
I
like the
value.
separation and everything.
Yeah, I'm just like I like to walk somewhat
Yeah,
normally.
right.
Like I'm
Without
good.
pain,
Yeah.
that'd be nice.
Actually I had to stop one of the guys on Friday from finishing a straight ankle lock, but he was doing the ankle lock fine, but he was gator rolling while he was trying to like do it. And I was like, stop. Like your white belt, your opponent's a white belt. Don't do that. If you're gonna do a straight
Yeah,
ankle
like
lock,
come on, man.
do a straight ankle lock. Don't like gator roll like you're trying to tear the guy's leg off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh,
That
oh, I'm
reminds me of
sorry. Sorry.
video I recently saw of an alligator tearing off another alligator's leg.
Was it an interior crocodile alligator?
What?
It's a stupid song. it,
Oh, I don't know that song. But
it's
our
stupid.
viewers are like, what?
No.
No, so I saw this video of like this is so random, not related to jujitsu at all, but like I saw this video of a crocodile or alligator. I don't know the difference between the two, okay, people? Um, and like they were in a pen. Is that some zoo? And the zoo person threw in some food, and this faraway alligator couldn't get to it in time. So he chomped on a nearby alligator's leg, did the alligator roll, crocodile roll, whatever it was, and just like tore the leg clean off his buddy's body. Like he just tore off his buddy's leg. And the other crocodile was just like, okay. Like these are
He
straight up dinosaurs.
probably was like freaked out. Didn't know what to
In
do.
shock.
But they are. I think they're the closest thing. I think they existed back
They
millions
did.
of years ago. Yeah.
I'm like,
Uh,
man, that crocodile is gonna feel it in the morning, or alligator, whatever the fuck it was.
so I'll answer my own question. The worst injury in competition I ever saw and or heard. I saw and heard it. No,
Mm,
I saw the aftermath, but I heard it. And the difference between two was like a split second. So I'm just standing around, and there's super heavyweight, like ultra heavyweight white belts going at it. And then I hear a loud pop, and everybody was going, like, oh, right.
yeah.
So I turn around and I see this huge, just mountain of a man. Look like he got his opponent in an omoplata, and it looks like he like
Shoulder.
shifted his hips too far forward, way too fast, and like broke the dude. Like some bone here broke. They had to cart him out by in a gurney. Like
Dude.
the dude who caused the injury was like really
Mm,
apologetic, and he was like,
mm.
like in horror. But the guy who actually got injured was like actually really cool about it. He was giving everybody the thumbs up, and he was like giving peace
Yeah,
signs. He
because
was
he
like,
was in shock.
yeah, he's like smiling on the way out. And I'm just thinking,
He's gonna be pissed the next day though.
you're gonna be in pain.
Yeah. Damn. It could have been like even I'm trying to think like an omoplata. It could have been a shoulder separation
Could have been his
or
collarbone.
collarbone. Yeah, that's the other thing I'm thinking of.
Um, I mean, I didn't see how the guy had it applied.
Hmm.
It could be entirely the case that he had it applied wrong and broke one of the bones in the guy's arm. Who knows?
Who knows, man? I do remember one time I competed and I did an Americana on an opponent and she was pissed because I aggravated an injury she already had, something
Yeah.
like that. And I was thinking she was so pissed at me and I was like, I'm so sorry, and she just like didn't want to talk to me and she just kind of like cold shouldered me.
Hmm.
But the entire time I was thinking like, okay, you're injured. she was talking about it the entire time leading up to the match.
Hmm.
Why would you be competing if you're that worried about your injury, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like I was out to try to aggravate that injury. Like, that's not what I was, it's not like I was like, oh, it's this arm, huh? You know, and I was like, ha.
With how intense competition matches are, I would not go in there with an injury
Yeah,
or no.
exactly. That's just not being smart.
No, definitely not. Especially in the heavier weight classes. Like that's kind of crazy, honestly.
Yeah, the one that you told me, you just mentioned, that's like, I know that like, you know, gyms have had their own fair share. I mean, that's where you're going to get the most injuries is in training.
Hmm.
I know
Yeah.
our gym has had a bad streak lately.
No, it's gonna happen. Um, the last time I competed, I ended up like hurting my spine. And that that
How
that
did you
took
do that?
so there's a I'm not gonna name him, but there's this guy who's in my age and belt he's in my bracket. He works out a lot, I'll say that. And the competition where I squared off against him, he did absolute gi and no gi, and then the gi and no gi brackets. Like, dude is a
Mm,
physical monster. So, I was watching him because he was hurting people in the no gi in the gi absolute. Like he had like 4 or 5 matches and he hurt 3 people. So then when the
he
gi
was going
our
hard.
yeah, when our bracket came along, I was like, well, maybe this is just a fluke. But the moment he grabbed my lapel and my sleeve, I knew that like I was in trouble. Like, dude,
Yeah.
this was the strongest feeling grips I have ever felt outside of Master Suki's. So I was like, okay. And he manhandled me like I was a child. So he got me on the ground and went for a bow and arrow. But the thing is, he applied it wrong and
Hmm.
he executed it with a lot
Oh,
of
I could
brute
totally see
force.
that.
Yeah. So my from the waist up, my body went this way. From my legs down to my ankles, my body went this way. So my spine went, and it,
And
it
he
took
was probably really aggressive about it too.
extremely aggressive.
Did he have his knee in there, his shin in there to like,
Nope. Nope. His knee was not in the small of my back. His knee was one leg was over like underneath my armpit, the other one was over my shoulder, and it was like locked that way.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because usually when I do the bow and arrow, I have one knee, one like my shin against their rib cage,
Yeah.
and then the far leg is over their shoulder.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I didn't know
This
if that was like how he was doing it.
yeah, no, he had me like trapped. But yeah, it took about 2.5 years for that to get fixed.
Yeah. Was there any like actual injury to the vertebrae?
No, it was just
Okay, so it
the
wasn't skeletal, it was just muscular.
muscular. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, After that, when I would go to sign up for competitions, I would see like a good number of people. Like I know most of these guys at this point. And then I would like just keep checking. And then I noticed this particular guy who hurt my spine would sign up. And then the days leading up to the competition, everybody else would just withdraw.
They're like, nope, not
Like,
against this guy.
yeah. It
I
got
do
to the
not want to be injured.
it got to the point where the super aggressive dude started a little Facebook group with like multiple guys in our age and belt class. Like guys would be in our bracket. And he
Hmm.
would just say, hey, does anybody want to sign up for Grappling Industries in this month? And we're all like,
Did anybody ever say anything? Like,
what?
dude, I would,
One,
but you're aggressive.
one guy went off on him and then quit the group.
In the group chat?
Yeah.
Mm.
He was like, the one time I went up against you, like you man, you beat me up so bad that I had to take 2 weeks off of work. And he's like, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I
that,
mean, I know that's why a lot of people decide not to compete because they're worried about injuries. I don't blame them at
yeah,
all.
I don't either. But um, just the last thing I'm going to say about this particular situation. Interesting note: this guy has been through 5 gyms since we competed, and
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
I'm
Because they keep
wondering
kicking them out.
I'm wondering if that's the case.
I mean, I mean, he's not moving around.
No.
That's very abnormal for someone to do that unless they're being kicked out.
Yeah. And I think it's because of the way that he rolls, like I've never seen anybody injure that many people in a competition before.
Hmm. It's
So
like, dude, this isn't combat, man. It's a
yeah,
fucking tournament.
yeah. It's
You
like
don't need to maim your opponent.
yeah. The worst thing is it just okay. Absolute last thing. After watching, in hindsight, remembering his matches, the ones that I was paying attention to, he is definitely supplementing skill with, or he's definitely compensating for a lack of skill with brute force, with extreme brute
Mhm.
force.
And what belt level?
He's purple now,
Mm.
so
And how big is he? I mean, he's a bigger guy.
he's my weight, but like 6'1".
Okay.
Yeah,
Ugh.
he's much more
I
solid
am
than I
never
am.
rolling with him.
Luckily, he's from Maryland, so if he's ever in Virginia, uh, you, I would probably highly recommend that he not participate in open mats. Like I don't
Yeah,
want
no,
to.
I'm gonna avoid him at all costs,
Yeah.
knowing what I know now. But we're not allowed to say names, right?
Nope.
Oh,
I don't. I
well,
don't.
I'll
I don't.
ask you offline then.
I'll tell you later.
Yeah, you'll ask me. No, you'll tell me offline.
Yes. All right, Yana. It's about that time.
Mm-hmm.
I need a
Yeah,
nap.
it's we started a
A
little
little
later.
late. That's fine.
Yeah, that's okay. We had some
Final.
catching up to do prior to the recording.
Yeah. Final thoughts, madam.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, if you find yourself injured, listen to your body, you're if you feel the need to be more risk averse and take that time off that the doctor recommended, then do that. I recommend that for anybody who's newer to jujitsu is to listen to your doctor. But if you're, you know, have a greater skill set and more experience, don't just, you know, don't just throw in the flag. Just try to work around the injury, work on flow rolling, and work on a new skill set that you're
Mhm.
going to learn by not being able to like use this limb or that limb, whichever one is injured. Um, yeah, and it's also always injury dependent. If it's like a big one like your back, I don't know.
Yeah. Stay home
Yeah,
with that
then
one.
that
Don't.
one, yeah, maybe not. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's just that's kind of my advice.
Mhm. And I'm going to sign off with saying blue raspberry soda and rum is definitely worth it. It
That's your new
was,
drink.
it is now my new favorite alcoholic beverage.
I'm gonna have to try it sometime. You're gonna have to bring it over at some point.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm gonna get some more of these, but I'm for one, I want to taste what it actually tastes like without the rum in it.
Yeah,
And
and you're
two,
gonna be like, this is gross.
you know what? I probably will. I mean,
Yeah.
it's dollar store soda. But anyways, yeah, if you have injuries, take care of yourself, take care of your training partners, and if you injure your back, stay home because don't do
Yep.
what
Good
I did.
advice.
Yeah.
Good advice.
Anyways, signing off. See y'all next week.
Until next week.
Bye. See you later, Yana.
See ya.
Why is this not ending? Stop it. Stop it.